The Battle of Zama, the fall of Carthage. The Battle of Zama, the final clash of the Second Punic War, was in many ways a mirror image of another great battle of that same war, Cannae. Think about it. Cannae was fought near Rome, Zama near Carthage. At Cannae, Hannibal had the advantage in cavalry, but fewer infantry. At Zama, it was the opposite. The Romans had nearly twice as much cavalry, but far fewer infantry than the Carthaginians. Cannae was a desperate move by Rome. Hannibal was ravaging fertile lands near the capital, and if they didn't stop him, Rome faced famine. Even worse, Rome's Italian allies might have switched sides, spelling the end of the Republic. But once Roman forces landed in North Africa, the situation reversed. Now Carthage faced encirclement and siege. Like Rome 14 years earlier, Carthage had no choice but to fight. And so, on October 19, 202 BC, two massive armies faced off on the blazing African plains. The Roman general, Publius Cornelius Scipio, had managed to win over the Numidians, Carthage's former allies and elite horsemen. That gave Rome a decisive edge in cavalry, and it stripped Carthage of its mobility. Hannibal understood that his only real chance was to break the Roman infantry before the Numidian cavalry crushed his own horsemen and returned to join the main fight. His solution? War elephants. During his invasion of Italy, Hannibal had very few elephants left. They mostly died crossing the Alps and played no real role in that campaign. But now, in Africa, he had 80 of them ready for battle. Unfortunately for Carthage, the elephants were poorly trained. There hadn't been time to prepare them, so Hannibal placed them in a single line in front of his infantry. No fancy maneuvers were needed. Just send the living tanks charging forward to smash the Roman lines and open a path for the infantry to follow. That was Hannibal's plan. But the Romans were ready. They knew Hannibal would likely use elephants. So Scipio arranged his infantry in long, staggered columns with wide lanes between them. In key spots, he placed his best troops, armed with heavy javelins. The Roman idea was simple. Don't engage the elephants head-on. Let them run through the gaps, and then hit them with a barrage of missiles. To keep the Carthaginians from realizing the trap too early, Roman light infantry masked the gaps in the formation. It worked perfectly. Just as Hannibal hoped, the elephants charged into the Roman lines. But instead of wreaking havoc, they were funneled between the columns with minimal losses to the Romans. Once inside, they were hit from all sides with heavy javelins. Panicked, the elephants turned around and trampled back into the advancing Carthaginian infantry. Still, Carthage had the numbers. Despite the chaos, the Carthaginian infantry pressed forward and engaged the Roman line. The fighting was brutal. The Romans began to buckle under pressure and slowly fell back. Carthage seemed on the brink of victory. And then the Numidian cavalry struck. Having completely routed the Carthaginian horsemen, the Numidians now returned and slammed into the rear of Hannibal's army. The result was total collapse. Panic swept through the Carthaginian ranks. Half their army was killed. The rest were captured and enslaved. Rome lost no more than 5,000 men. With its army gone, Carthage had no choice but to surrender. The peace terms were crushing. Carthage lost all territory outside Africa, nearly its entire fleet, and had to pay a massive indemnity, 10,000 talents of silver. They were also forbidden from waging war without Rome's permission. Zama ended Carthage's rise. The once promising empire was now a Roman satellite. Rome, on the other hand, emerged as the dominant power in the Mediterranean. 50 years later, Rome would use a flimsy excuse to launch the Third Punic War. Carthage would be destroyed for good, but that's a story for another episode. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. More stories from Roman history are on the way.